Last night, Preet said something that I have been thinking about ever since. It has to do with that message that Trump posted on Truth Social last month, directing his Attorney General Pam Bondi to prosecute a list of his perceived political enemies. Of course, we now know that this was supposed to be a private message, which we could have all guessed, but now we know that, not a public post disseminated to his 10 million plus social media followers. And according to Preet, Trump's posting could be a problem for the government's case against James Comey, which makes me think. I'm not a lawyer, but as we are following the breaking news of one of Trump's other political enemies, Tish James, being indicted today, whether Trump's own words and his inability to use a phone correctly, because we all know there are other DMs out there, whether that might affect whether the case against Tish James holds up in a court of law. Joining us now is Preet, former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Thank you. I get a twofer. It's two nights in a row.
Two in a row.
I was thinking about, and I was talking with my team about what you said last night, and there's just this question of these direct messages. So let me just start by asking you, for the Comey case, his lawyers want those to see if there are other DMs, presumably. How do they get those? What's the legal process?
Well, they're going to file a motion saying they should dismiss the indictment based on selective and vindictive prosecution. And in furtherance of that, if the judge doesn't decide just on the evidence that's already out there, and there's plenty of it, that we need to have a little bit more inquiry and investigation, like a different judge has done in the Abrego-Garcia case. He might say, we'll have a period of discovery. You get to ask for documents and information and communications. Then we'll have a hearing about it. And in the process of the judge deciding that there should be discovery, which I think at a minimum would be granted based on what we know of the facts of the case and the procedure and the posture of the case, that's how you get it.
And so it could be other DMs, any DMs between Pam Bondi and Trump they might ask for.
If they're preserved, and I think, as I said last night, there may be many of those, and maybe they were set to disappear. Maybe someone has deleted them. I think smart lawyers will have asked for those things to be preserved. So we'll see how that plays out. And I think, as I also said last night, if they have not been preserved, the judge can reach an adverse inference about what was happening there. But look, we do have the one, errant DM, and that presents a lot. And the other interesting thing about how these cases are unfolding, usually it's the case that you bring one case against somebody, another case against somebody else, and if they're related in some way, you might think, well, that's showing that the cases are all stronger. Each successive case that Donald Trump's Justice Department brings along these lines makes it more likely that the prior case will be dismissed.
Why is that?
Because they're all following a pattern of vindictive prosecution, right? So to be one person who's been targeted in a DM, who's an enemy of the President of the United States, alongside a flimsy case, that's one thing. For him then to do it a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time actually reinforces and strengthens the argument, I think, of vindictive prosecution and selective prosecution with respect to all of them as this unfolds.
So the pattern. So if you're Tish James's lawyer, you want to ask. We don't know of a DM, but there could be a DM. Who knows out there?
You want to ask for everything.
You want to ask for everything.
You want to ask for all the communications that have taken place. You want to ask for all the memos that have been written. You want to ask for any meeting summaries. Anything at all that bears on the question, why was this person prosecuted?
And for a lot of, White Houses assert executive privilege, right, pretty liberally, over presidential communications. We've never been in this world before where presidents have been DMing things to cabinet members or the attorney general. Is there different laws that apply to that? Can they still try to assert the same executive privilege, or
they can assert it? They can assert it, but I think a right-minded judge would find it hard to countenance the idea that you can do an end run around the proper procedures of justice. You can weaponize the justice system, you can weaponize your department, and then cloak all of that, shield all of that under executive privilege. I think it'll be a fight. I think you might have to go back and forth for a little bit, but I think ultimately that claim fails. If you can show, as the president has given the world and the lawyers an opportunity to see, that there's actually something nefarious going on. What normally happens is, a lawyer bringing a vindictive prosecution claim doesn't have a lot to go on. There's conjecture, there's speculation, and they're kind of throwing a Hail Mary pass. This is not a Hail Mary pass. This is like a very easy pass a couple of yards away, because the president has said again and again and again and again. Forget about the stuff that we don't know about. Forget about the stuff that might be hidden, the stuff that might have been deleted. He has said again and again and again, these are the people that he wants to go after. He ran on a campaign of retribution, and now he's exacting that retribution, just like he said. That's pretty powerful stuff, even if you don't have anything further.
As you're saying, the pattern makes it weak, makes the cases weaker, which is interesting because he's made clear there's going to be more. Like, it doesn't end here with the two of them.
Yeah.
How do you think this ends? Where does it end?
Well, so speaking not as a lawyer for a moment, speaking as a citizen of the country, and seeing how many people are sort of putting up with this, particularly on the Republican side, I wonder if people ask themselves the question what the answer is. Do people really think it ends at the end of the list that Trump has put out so far? What do you think happens when Trump runs down to Democrats? We still have 3 years and change of this administration. If we normalize this kind of conduct, this kind of behavior, and this kind of impunity, when he's done with that list, he's going to find other people. He's going to find Republicans. He's going to find independents. He's going to find people in industry. He's going to find private citizens who cross him or upset him or stand in the way of something that he wants to accomplish. And they can be thrown into prison also if he just fires the person who says there's no basis to go forward and finds some other former personal lawyer of his who has no business being in the grand jury, who has no business bringing a prosecution because they have no experience in it. This is going to happen to lots and lots of other people who are sitting on the sidelines now. And as the old phrase goes, are they going to say, I didn't stand up because I wasn't a Democrat? You should stand up because you're an American.
And also because you may be targeted, including people who work for him. We've seen that pattern. Preet, thank you for being here, as always. 2 nights in a row. I really appreciate it.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. We'll have you back tomorrow on a Friday night.